with B
and AD.
Not her breath.
Oh,
Everybody breath stank. You know what? I'm done. Rehab will not get me.
right, the high.
Right. Have your eyes been open? She wipes.
Oh, 25.
Or maybe not. Maybe she's like,
I hope she doesn't have anybody wiping her ass. That is ridiculous.
would you have somebody wipe your ass?
Yeah. So bad.
At your nearest Walmart.
Oh no, y'all go to Target. Okay. See what I'm saying?
Oh no, we're not legal yet.
Is
so.
that a white people thing for real?
Hey, excuse me, sir. I do not. I don't do this. He's like, oh, boo, get them elbows.
2 shots of the truth in my bag.
Oh yeah, we be back. We about to take our shots.
We're gonna take shots, man.
Not the imagination.
Take a shot.
The best ingredient, imagination.
All right, so
I'm gonna wait because 2 shots in the truth, I'm sure, is gonna be a thing.
it is. Well, you probably want to take one now. Let it settle.
I've
You don't
also
want to
been
take
drinking this
2 back
40.
to back.
No,
You
we're
wanna-
gonna pause. I'm gonna make a drink that we can take the shots. I can go downstairs, make a drink, and then we can do it.
Whoa.
I need
What?
ginger.
Oh.
I need ginger beer.
I'm not drinking no more.
You're a lie. Let's go. Oh, we're
You're a lie.
recording.
Yes, we
Devil is a
live.
law.
Sorry. Second segment. Welcome back. Okay, so just to continue where we left off.
Have your eyes been open to your significant other's culture? And then I asked, do you feel that you have a culture? But we can do have you know,
Jump in there. Okay,
jump in, swim.
Have my eyes been open a little bit? I do think I've taken a little bit interest in understanding. Bless you. What it means to be Jewish, and I was like very confused. And I remember consulting with some of my Jewish friends. Shout out to Sydney. Like, what is going on? Like, what do I need to know?
Yeah.
And then the last time I saw his mom, he's like, "You'll be a Jewish lady in no time." So I figured I had the seal of approval from her. So that was a little eye-opening. But I know we've had a lot of conversation specifically about like police brutality and what it means to
That's
be
exactly
a
what I
black
was gonna say.
man. And those conversations were really important for me to have because it was like, okay, I love you a lot. I can see myself having a future with you. If we have kids, they're going to be black. So let's talk about what that looks like now because you need to be prepared and that might impact your decision on if you want to have children with me because they're going to face a lot of things that you don't face. And Jake is just a very logical person. He's like, this is what makes sense. If I teach my kids this, then this will be the result. And I had to teach him a little bit that what's happening to the black community is not, it doesn't make sense. It's not logical.
Yeah.
So the logic of
That's
I'll raise them
100%
to be respectful, they'll go to great schools, they'll know everything what to do. Like that doesn't matter when you're
That
black.
does not matter.
You know, so
Especially if you have a little black boy.
exactly.
I was gonna say because you asked this
Doesn't
question
matter.
once, and with I don't want to be
I
weird with her
appreciate
living
that.
family, like with the people I meet. It's not as much because we're all people, we're all young. It's regular party stuff, so culture stuff. I can't play spades besides that. But yeah, no, we definitely had the
He's pretty
conversation
good.
of like, yo, so what happens if your kid is black? What do you teach that kid? Like, what do I know as a white man to prepare that kid for what is the reality of a black person, man or female, whatever the kid would be?
Yeah.
And obviously, as a white guy, I'm not prepared for all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a parent, so of course that plays into it. But my knowledge of how my mind works, and at least how I understand parenting work, is that as soon as or any moment where I have a child, I will love that child to the ends of the earth. It's a different world. You know what I mean? It's a different universe. Your
Yeah.
life changes to, you don't think about yourself, you think about that other person. But there was a moment, and it's not even a moment, where like, yeah, you have to think about that, like, how can I help if it was, well, my child, because we don't have kids yet, like I said, my child learn about these things that are important for them growing up and surviving as a member of society, were things that, like, when I was a 6-year-old, I never thought about if I had to hold a plastic gun, if that would mean something to me.
Yeah.
But of course, like, if we had a kid and he was sandy haired, or if he was a little darker than me, and if he held a plastic gun, I had to teach that kid a certain way to respond. Because, like, I have an interesting relationship with police, not good or bad, but I'm always the guy who has to, like, go and dissolve the situation. My child, if me and this wonderful, beautiful woman I have next to me have a child, like, I have to teach them in a very different way. And that culture shock it's not a shock, but it's something that I'd have to prepare for and something that I have to be serious about because it's important to the people that I love. So like it can't be something that's ever taken lightly. You know what I mean? So like I have to be willing to learn. First and foremost, I have to be willing to receive information from other people that are not myself. But I'm a semi that guy anyways because I love to learn. But like I have to, if I'm going to build this foundation, build this family and this rock that I want to build, I have to understand it from all angles, and I have to know to teach the people that come after me things about cultures that I might not know about. So I have to reach outside my necessarily sphere of influence to make them understand and make them learn and learn from more than just me. And in that way, I'll learn too, I think, hopefully.
I appreciate that conversation.
Yeah.
I do.
It's a lot.
Kudos
That's a heavy question.
It
That's
was
a heavy.
really heavy.
Kudos to you
I think
guys,
Jake's
'cause
background.
Because we're not quite there yet, though. We're both young 20s, so we're not like quite at. We're gonna have
We
a kid
got
tomorrow.
5 years at least.
So we got some time, but
Yeah.
You know,
But it doesn't hurt to think about it. And the fact that you both
I'm
Yeah,
not
like,
gonna-
that
I
you guys
can't
are
neglect
thinking
it.
about
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
to
I can't-
teach and to learn, like you're on the right track. Because
I can't neglect it. I
you
don't
can't.
understand it fully because I don't think I ever will, but I can't
Yeah.
neglect it. I can't ever shun myself out from learning new things and from being open to her experience and like, we have to build this arc together.
And
You
that's
know
the
what I mean?
thing people don't say, and I can appreciate that. Like, I won't fully understand it because I
fuck
promise
yeah.
you, I've heard it so many times. Like, I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me, and it will be dismissed from not even just white men that I've heard.
I'm the guy who they send to talk to cops. I was the president of a frat. I've thrown 100 parties here and in LA, and we've done shit together. I'm the guy who always diffuses it. My kid, if we have a kid who doesn't, and period.
Yeah.
But anybody who I teach or any person who I teach when you introduce a new culture, they have to be more cognizant than I was, and they have to be more careful than I was. And I think like I have to learn a lot, and I have to teach a lot, and I think those things go hand in hand.
This is great.
So
That makes me
Jake,
happy.
the $1 million question.
I don't know at all. I know I don't know most things.
Do you season second?
Do you use Lowry's? No.
More than I did, I'll tell you that shit. More than I motherfucking did. Hell yeah. That shit ain't great on eggs. That shit ain't great on eggs. Hell yeah, more than I did.
Have you ever said the word?
So honestly, it's gone through my mind, but no. Like, and I know that's a shitty thing for white people to say, and it's cop
It's
out.
not,
But I'm
it's
in
not.
hip hop, so like, it's easy for me to like be like, wild ass Bama's going to front. Like, yo, it's so like, I've done this 100 times. You know what I mean? Like, I love rappers. I create music. It's not easy, but it's it's not hard. Like, yo, this word means things to people. It's hurtful to people. I wouldn't call somebody I shouldn't even say the word, but the F word, because I had a frat brother who was gay, and so when you say, I'll say it one time.
I'm not saying fuckboy. What
Right,
are you
right,
So I had a frat brother.
Are you trying to say a
I'll
fucker?
say it one time, only for educational. I'll get roasted for this when I'm actually famous.
No, we know what you're talking
But
about.
You say the word faggot. It's not
Yeah.
a good word. It's not a word you can ever
Yeah.
say. It diminishes them as a person.
Yeah.
You can't say that word. And so, like, it's not out of pocket to be like, yo, don't say something that hurts people. It's not hard, even if it's your favorite song. Like,
Okay,
Bama's
so
in Paris. I love Kanye. I
it
love
wasn't-
Jay-Z. It's so easy for me. It's not. I sing. Like, yo, you can vibe with a record and be like, yo,
Yeah.
respectful of people. It's not difficult.
It wasn't hard for you. Let me just, a little
'Cause
bit of
you know me a
background.
little bit.
Because, just a little bit. So, Jake and I worked together for a while. And
Have you
Jake,
ever heard me say it?
No, but I heard people say that you've said it. But I don't know if that's true
I know
or
what you're
not.
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah, yeah. But honestly, I wasn't surprised, or I mean, we worked with Bobby.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean?
Bobby was a white boy fugitive that got out of jail.
Not a.
No, not fugitive.
And
Bobby was a
thanks
drug
for
dealer and
listening.
slanger.
We're done. No.
Bobby was a bad man. Bobby was somebody I would not meet in a back alley by myself.
But-
Bobby was
but-
white. Bobby was like this.
The whitest of white from
where was Bobby from?
you
from
trying to
here, from
holler.
Virginia or something.
Wait a minute. I
Bobby
want,
big too. Bobby is jacked up.
You sound like a Rough Rider.
Wait, can I do an episode? Can I be the interracial duo?
I forgot about Bobby. Not really, but I always remember.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I never was, like, Jake was, you know how you have the token black?
Yeah.
Well, Jake
I'm
was the
the token
token white. And we used
It
to pick
happens.
with him about it because he was the only white guy in the studio.
But he gets to say it. Any token gets to do
Yeah,
whatever
but
they
nah.
want.
Like, so that's the thing. That's important though. I appreciate we're talking about this because not to be weird, not that I've earned anything, but with the amount of friends and loved ones and people that I love that are black and white and different things, like you could say whatever you want, but it's not about what you could or can't do or what you have a pass for. If a word hurts people, don't hurt people. It's very simple.
I love
Yo,
Jay.
it's very, very fucking simple. It's not about like, yo, what's in a song and what people say and what black people can say in their song. Yo, dude, like, it makes, she's gonna feel upset. Don't make her feel upset.
Or you're gonna
Like,
have to
it's
go
so
through something.
easy. It's
Like
not-
people are gonna question you, so don't say it.
Yo, it's not that difficult.
When you're alone.
When
When you're alone and you rap.
I'd be like this. Yeah, I thought in traffic. Don't get me wrong. Like it goes through my head, especially being around a bunch of rap motherfuckers all day.
Right.
It goes through my head. But I not pride myself, but I may have said it once or twice. I'll never say I never said it, but I've never said it like singing a song, singing an Eminem record or a Jay-Z
Being
record, or Kanye
around
record.
people.
Man, like my most heavy influences. I love the records, and I'll be easily to be like, yo, Bama's in Paris. Because like I love that song and I love those artists. I don't think it diminishes their art to not say the word.
We
but
literally
I
have listened to that song so
Yeah,
many
hell yeah, but like-
goddamn times. I never want to hear it
If it could
again.
hurt somebody, like, yo, don't hurt people. It's so simple.
I
It's so
appreciate that
simple,
about
man.
you.
It's not really that tough. It's really not. Dun dun. Dun dun. I can still rock the fuck out. Yo, trust me, I can hit it hard.
We're about to listen to that right after.
I can
The
hit ball so
outro.
hard, motherfuckers want to find me. That shit crack. I can say all the words. You know what I mean? Like it's just
And
it's,
skip
it's
that
easier
one.
than people think.
Look.
Oh no, because we
Boom.
know. Trust me, when your parents, you used to be around your parents and you singing a word, you bleep the hell out of a cuss word or
Yeah,
something like
'cause
that.
you
You
know
know
it's
how to
coming.
do it.
'Cause
You know how to do
Especially
it.
if
But
it's
that's
easy to
good.
change that word to Bamas and just like, yeah, care about the people around you. It's like it's that simple. It's not even
That's
about
good.
the art. It's not whatever. Just like, yo, I'm not gonna hurt people on purpose. And if it is a slight or reason to hurt people, like don't do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not crazy. It doesn't hurt the art. I make
There's
art. It
too
doesn't
much
hurt the
that
art.
comes with the word. Like I don't want to explain to somebody how I know to put it. What it? No, it's too much.
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's not
make any
about, like, people
sense.
be like, yo, I got stripes. I can say it.
Yeah, like I earned it. My black friends told me I could. Like
just be decent, man.
Yeah.
Just be a good person. We all going.
listen to
on the same
Jake,
train.
people.
She's so in love. I wish I could see her.
That's
But she's
my boo.
I mean, you could ask.
That's my boo.
And so you asked Davina, asked Ashley, have you ever heard me say it? I don't think so.
No, we've never had the conversation. I've never even heard
We
you
haven't
speak
talked about
about it. It's never anything that's crossed my
I've
mind.
never heard him say it.
Yeah, because it's just
I
so
make
far
rap
away
music.
from happening.
I've gotten a bunch of big records, a bunch of grand records. People say records and say that word.
You've never felt the need to.
No, and like I said, being around a bunch of rap bands, occasionally in traffic, I'll be like this. You know, but I
Right.
would never say it, and
Yeah.
I would never repeat it in the song, like, just because, like I said, you don't spread hurt. You don't hurt people on purpose. And, like,
Yeah, that's the worst
If I
thing you do.
can-
My mama told me that. But thanks, mom.
that's it. That's literally the only thing
mom
I'd say
did say
about
that.
that. Like, so I'm never really worried I'm ever going to say it in front of a
Yeah, I've
fucking
never. It's never
cookout.
crossed my
Like,
mind.
nope,
So
what?
Really?
yeah, this is the first
They used
time
to
I've
tease.
heard
They used
him.
to tease Jake
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, they used to try and make me say it at the
They used to
studio.
try to make him say it at the studio.
And
But
he
real quick,
wouldn't?
I want you to tell Adrian because I'm sorry, AD.
Right.
We're getting governments on this show. We're getting government names on this
Who
show.
is she? What?
We're getting government names on this show.
Why did you get hired at House?
So this is a decent, interesting question.
Affirmative
But
action.
no, I was hired at House because I am white, and I don't want to say that in any derogatory way. But you has told me multiple times that he had a bunch of applications, and also I wasn't the only person hired in Yuju's defense, who I love very dearly, and I'm not going to ever direct in the mud. He hired a few different people, but
He don't like
Yudu
it.
Gray is an African man who was starting a studio in Northeast with a bunch of other people who were not African, who were all African American. So like there was a stigma against him, and he was raising this company. And so when he was doing this, it was actually a site called internships.com. He was doing a search on internships.com for interns. He was looking for names that stood out to him as white names. And so when he found Jake Grotticelli, so Jacob Grotticelli, Grotti, it's a Grotticelli if you say it in the Italian way.
Grotticelli. You gotta be here like this.
That did make you bring me in for that interview. And
But
although
why
my
did
music
you? But why did you get it? Because I still have your.
Yeah.
I still have your CD.
Yeah, I was gonna say because my
And it
music
actually-
was terrible
it-
then.
it was
as
horrible.
It sometimes is now, but my music was terrible then.
What shirt were you wearing?
I was wearing a shirt that said NYLC, National Youth Leadership Conference, because I attended from New Jersey a conference that his aunt, who I think that you're related, and you can tell me better than he can.
Why? I don't want to cry.
No, that's how me and you. That's why. No, that's why. Wait. No, so this is amazing that we're connecting on this because I really want to hear your opinion on this because that's why I'm here. That's why we're all here. Is because from New Jersey, I was one of. I think they take 2 or 3 people from every state, and you know what's funny? I didn't get in because my grades weren't high enough. But because I was a firefighter and because I was doing all this other extracurricular stuff, I was accepted on scholarship for this program in D.C. where I came down and pretended to be a representative of Congress. They took 2 or 3 of us from each state, and we solved problems, the world's problems, for like 2 or 3 weeks in this National Youth Leadership Conference. And UDO's, if I say aunt, I'm wrong, you tell me, but UDO's aunt ran and was the leader of that scholarship and is the reason I was at that program. And I wore that shirt. UDO gave me a chance.
I don't want to cry, so that's good though. I'm happy that you're here.
Did you didn't know any of that, huh?
No, I didn't.
That's why I'm here. That's why. I don't want to say that's why all of this happened because so much happened without me. But that's why a lot of this happened. And I don't want to say a lot of this because all of it, like I said, all of it would have happened without me. But like,
I mean,
I'm here
Jake,
because
honestly, you're the only one still here, dog.
Great Barbara Greaves.
Yeah, Jake is the only one.
I would love to know a little
Passed
because you
away.
told me a little bit, but yeah,
She passed away in 2004 of colon cancer, and she worked for the company, and they basically created a scholarship in her name to invite people on.
called the Grief Scholarship,
Yes.
which I think I got as the 3rd place from New Jersey.
Exactly, and you were able to create.
Isn't that
this
crazy?
opportunity.
That's
And I
nice.
promise
Isn't that
you,
crazy?
She made an impact on all of us. Like I was just telling her today, like I haven't been affected by.
She didn't know I was gonna ask this question.
Anyone's don't do
know either.
that. I'm
No, I didn't know
sorry,
either.
my bad.
I didn't know
We're
either.
not.
But
doing
it
this.
brings it full
But
circle.
when I
It brings
say
it full
that
circle.
the impact that she had on pretty much all of her nieces and nephews' lives, even the people who work with her didn't know her. When I told my friends,
Obviously, you
everybody
didn't
She
know
did
her.
a beautiful
Just
thing. Like I said, I was supposed to be there.
seriously,
I was a troubled kid who was in a band who, like, I got in trouble with the police a lot. Like, I had a fake ID, so I was
What you
buying
was doing?
booze. I was getting arrested. No, it was bad news. Like, I was getting arrested, got thrown out of Berkeley for doing some booze shit. Like, it was bad news. But I got this opportunity to go because I was really into politics. So I got this opportunity to go and be like, yo, you're going to be the state senate as high school representatives, and there'll be 2 from each country. And I was like, holy shit. But I just didn't really have it. But I got a scholarship to be the 3rd one up from New Jersey, and it brought me here.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't
that crazy?
And we were just talking about
We
full
were.
circle
We were.
with Gabby, how
were.
that happened, and
Because Gabby knew you do.
And I'll never
He
forget
called-
it. I was
he
riding on the
called
bus
them.
alone, listening
Yeah.
to music. I'll never forget it. I'll
And I
never forget
still-
how
I
great that
actually-
opportunity
I have
was,
your
but I'll never
CD.
forget how lost I was on the bus here. And I was, yeah.
To 12th Street.
Yeah, cause, no, before then, during the when I got the Grave
Oh,
Scholarship,
yeah.
during the NYLC.
Yeah.
Because right before then, I had gotten thrown out of Berkeley. So, like, I
I didn't know you
really-
went to Berkeley.
Yeah, so there are a lot. I don't know if we need to get too deep into this story.
Oh, we
but,
won't go there. We won't go there.
I was at Berkeley for a while, very, very young, because I used to play guitar. So I was actually
Used to?
I occasionally still play.
You
but
dabble.
I was okay enough to like get a summer, what's called the 5-week program at Berkeley, where they let young kids come and they participate in their college program. I got thrown out for some alcohol shit, and I was really lost, and had to do a bunch of shit for the police and a bunch of like essays and art and like fucking community service, and we were paying lawyers, so I had to go a couple times. Like it was really, really fucking bad. But like I ran the of course called the National what was it called? It's called the Youth Republican Club or something, because I was, like I said, a little conservative coming from out of New Jersey. But like doing that, I was able to do this trip to DC, and I met a bunch of people that I loved, and like that kind of helped me get over this really heavy moment where like I was young though. I was like 15, 16, 17, but
God damn, Jake.
I was
How,
hurt. I was
bro?
hurt, and that program helped me a lot.
Wait a minute. How old? Berkeley is.
So remember, I was skipped ahead a year. So like
you smart.
Nah, not quite. Not quite. So, but yeah, I was skipped ahead like a couple years. So I graduated high school when I was 16.
A year and a couple years
like a
is
year
very
and a half,
different.
because I'm born in January, so I'm young. So like,
Oh, that kid's gonna be smart, have good hair and everything.
nah, y'all wild. Y'all wild.
I'm just saying.
So January 12th is my
Edges.
birthday, so I'm the first anyways. But I got skipped ahead by like a year and a half because like I was reading, and like it's a funny story. It's another story of me getting in trouble. This kid comes up to me, right? I remember this shit. I'm in kindergarten. I'm fucking. I'm reading this book.
Why did his whole
Because like, yo, this story upsets me, but it set my whole life up. So because I remember this shit like it was the day of. I'm reading this book. It's so lit, right? It's the cat and the hat. So like, I'm like, yo, this cat is gonna wear this hat. I'm so about it, right? I had never heard of this story before. I'm young. I might be 4 or 5. I'm like, this cat's gonna wear this hat. It's gonna be lit. And all these other kids are making these fucking popsicle sticks, right? And as they putting paste down, this kid comes over with the glue, puts glue on my jeans. These are dungaroos. I'm upset. I'm in kindergarten. I'm upset. I'm reading a book. Some kid puts popsicle stick paste on my dungaroos. Upset. I took a handful of paint, whap him in the face as hard as I could. I was like, boom. I was like, my sister passed down them dungaroos. I was like, I'm not getting another pair. Let me read my book. After that,
Yeah, now my sister passed them down.
after that, they took me out of kindergarten, and they were like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, I was reading, this kid put glue sticks all over me. They're like, wait, you can read? And I was like, yeah, like I can read. Like, what you mean? The cat's about to put on the hat. You're getting the best point. Like, what the fuck? You fucking suffer me. And they're like, wait, we have like a 2nd grade class where they're reading the Cat in the Hat. You want to like go sit in? And I was like, does he wear the hat? Yeah, of course I want to sit in. Like, yeah, I'm going to sit in. So I went and sat in. And then, I wrote out the rest of 2nd grade. And so...
I wrote out the rest of the
yeah, that was pretty lit.
Please.
And so I skipped ahead a little bit after the Dungaroos incident, because I was, you don't ruin a good pair of jeans. And,
Especially the ones that your sister gave you, right?
Yeah. And so that made me graduate really early. So when I went to the NYLC, I was actually 14 or 15, and everybody else was juniors and seniors. But I graduated high school when I was 16, and then I graduated college before I was 21.
I didn't know they still did stuff like that because people are so
yeah.
hesitant to skip their children nowadays. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want social
It was
problems.
a thing. I think my
yeah.
parents still regret it, but it was a thing where it was like, yeah, exactly, because I was small, obviously, by more than any other kid. So like I was in soccer, but like when I was in football for a year, like I was getting crushed, and especially when kids got older and had the growth spurts, like I couldn't play as many contact sports because like I was in soccer killing it and like doing other shit. But yeah, so I got skipped ahead a little bit, but NYLC was a big part of that.
That is great. Talk about
And fucking ruining Dungaroos, man.
You so smart.
so small.
I'll never forget that.
Smart.
I still don't know if the cat wears the hat.
Swoop it, swoop
I still don't know if the cat wears the hat.
So, any advice or anything you guys want to say? Any questions you may have for us? Any advice you have for
Interracial couples.
Young interracial couples?
Those are so many different questions.
Well, I did have a question for you guys.
Yeah, I have a lot of
For
questions for
me?
y'all, of course.
So I went to
What?
Howard, which is the Mecca
HU?
HBCU, historically black college and university, and we've actually had conversations around him not necessarily understanding why somebody should go to a HBCU.
Yeah, that's a decent conversation to have.
Yeah, but
No,
That is.
I struggle with this.
With
Me
what?
too. Well, if I can give the worst perspective as the only white person. So if I have a beautiful child who is mixed, right, who's African, I'm right in the middle. I want them to apply to every school, including HBCUs, but I'm right in the middle of if I'd want my mixed kid to go to an HBCU, only because in my experience as a white person, but like would I want them to be around only black people, only that like I know this field and like this world is so tough and you're gonna have to interact with so many random people, like do you kind of want to get the underdog thing out of the way, you know what I mean? Or do you want to like be in the school where you're really comfortable and can grow? Like I actually described HBCUs in a much more thorough way so I can understand them a bit more. But before I was more educated and I talked to Ashley and a lot of people, I was also like, yo, I don't know if I want my kid around only the same kind of kid. Because, like, you know what I mean? I worry for that. But it was just a question that we've talked about a couple times. I've learned a lot more. And I've got a lot of great friends from Howard specifically because we're here, but also a bunch of other HBCUs. But it's a good question for all of us to kick around because it's just interesting. You know what I mean? The kid doesn't exist, so right now it's no stakes. It's no stakes.
Damn. It's something that I struggle with because
You have 3 kids, one about to enter college and 2 that are a little farther off.
Yeah. I want HBCUs are some of them, just like all schools, are great schools.
Of course.
But if you go to a Yale or a Harvard or anything like that, it gives you a leg up to have that on your resume, right? But then I struggle with it because I don't want my child, or I personally don't want to feel like you have to have a Yale or Harvard on your resume.
And there's also
to get a
legitimate
leg up.
conversation about like the network that comes from an HBCU, right? You know what I mean? There's a lot of amazing musicians, people I know from a Howard or from like any of these other schools. So like both those things play in, but I agree with you kind of because like I said, the kid doesn't exist. So in my mind, I'm like, should the kid apply to HBCUs? Probably, but like, why aren't we hitting exactly Yale and Harvard? Like you want your kid to have like what should be the pinnacle
right,
of
but
things.
my struggle is I want you to feel like that your school is good enough.
Yeah.
That HBCU is good enough for you. It is that. Just like I want my children to feel like that America is not the best place you can be in. The Liberia is just as good. The Ghana is just as good. The Africa is just as good. You know what I mean? So it's something that I struggle with. I want my children to know that they are good enough and we don't need the other side in order to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's a great perspective.
I want you to know that. But if you want to do it,
you can do both.
then
you can do anything.
that is okay.
My
So
perspective,
I struggle with it.
it's a good struggle to have. My perspective is I don't think if somebody's like going to get a master's degree, they should do HBCU twice because you need to show that you're versatile.
Yeah.
But I also struggle with people associating excellence with whiteness. And that's why, and I also think that, going to a HBCU, you can go get your education, focus on growing as a human, and not have to think about being black. And that's like wearing, it's like wearing such a huge burden. I have friends that went to Penn, and that's why they have these Black student associations, so you can support one another and hang out with one another because you might not be welcome on all of the different parts of campus.
Every school has that.
Yeah.
Morgan has it, Towson has it. The Black schools actually have it, and they take it so far to have the Black Student Union, but also the African Student Union.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
ain't no president come from an HBCU. Let's get that straight.
Not yet.
But also,
Not
many
yet.
presidents haven't been black.
That's what I'm talking about.
True that.
We've only had one that's been black. So
Well, we have an orange one, our first orange one. So where did he go?
Next one could be green.
Right, exactly. Like
Money's the president.
If
No, I'm
Trump
just
can be
playing.
president, anybody can be
Yeah, but
president.
HBCUs are about pride, though.
Andrew
Like
Yang,
from
2020.
the way that I hear them to be preached to children.
Yeah.
I didn't go to a HBCU personally, but it's about pride. It's about having,
That network.
yeah,
The
having
Bisons.
a network. Yeah, to just say, hey, I'm proud to be an African American or whatever culture, race you may be from. To say I can go and be around my people. It's not about. I know people who have excelled to do great things outside of an HBCU. Didn't necessarily take them to be. It was just about being comfortable, like you said, and being prideful of where they come from, who they are, and who they can surround themselves with. It doesn't have to be anything else.
Yeah.
I will say that going to like all white high schools and then going to a HBCU was a culture shock, but I definitely noticed a difference in the classroom of people not second guessing me, people not expecting me.
More expressive and more open
Yeah,
in
I was
HBCU.
able to really grow and be confident because I didn't have people second guessing me or looking at me or making racial jokes towards me because I did deal with a lot of racism in high school and you don't even have to think about it. You know what I mean?
HBCU.
So it's like a burden you don't have to carry, and once you take that off of your back, you can put your books on and go. You know what I mean?
You grew up in Richmond.
Richmond. I also lived in Atlanta. I also lived in Florida. So
Where did you go to high school?
in Richmond, I went to Godwin High School in Henrico, which was majority white.
Really?
May I
was.
ask you what prompted your decision to apply to HBCUs? Or was Howard the only one?
So I actually was super skeptical about going to a HBCU. I was the only person in my high school class of 400 to go to a HBCU. My mom worked at Howard at the time. She's a Hampton graduate, and so it just kind of made sense.
Oh yeah, your mama black.
Yeah,
Frida, she was looking out, but
yeah,
so I mean, it made sense as far as like paying tuition went. But once I got there, I mean, it was just so nice to just feel respected and open and not have to feel like I have to speak for everybody black, because I've had that experience in the classroom where it's like,
real.
hey, Ashley, all right, you're the black one,
You're
so
the
why don't
black
you
one.
speak for every black person in
Yeah.
the world?
Yeah.
And so it was just nice. And then also the history we learned and how I learned how I should represent myself and defend myself as a black woman. And I also felt like I learned what I'm up against. Like this is really what's happening. This is really what our history is. And I think a lot of that, you get a Black history lesson in math class at Howard. So,
Yeah.
it was really enriching, and I found it to be a really
I like
valuable
that it wasn't
experience.
about homecoming's gonna be lit. Okay,
No, that's
I like
real.
that. I like that
So-
answer. That's good.
So it's important. So I definitely would obviously consider. It's about what the kid wants, but of course, like. I
But
would
those might
obviously
be
consider
some of the
it.
things.
You taught me a lot about
yeah,
it,
that
'cause,
we
like,
learned about different cultures and things.
Yeah.
The
'Cause-
kid has to grow and be the most amazing, successful person they can be, and like it opened my eyes to like what that can do. So,
Oh,
of course, I
sound
want
like we
that.
having kids over here, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yo, we're still at least
Marry
18
him.
years off from any of those decisions, but I'm happy
Marry
that I.
Y'all gonna be old and wrinkled.
Yeah, but I'm happy I at least understand.
You know,
it.
black
or at
don't
least
crack.
get a better perspective.
This is dope. Anything else?
Would you guys? Okay, so
I have a lot of questions for them.
Well,
Go ahead with yours first.
going to Howard,
Right,
and
dude.
on Facebook, there's a lot of girls that are like, I would never date outside of my race. Da,
I
da, da,
would.
da.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot of
that was my question
Instagrams
for
that
you.
are
Would
really
you
I
date?
have.
Oh,
Who you date?
I dated a white boy. His name was Bobby
My
Parker.
first boyfriend was actually white, but I was so young. It was like
That
okay.
doesn't count.
Yeah, it
When you're-
doesn't
when you're
count.
Y'all held
Five,
hands on the way to
Yeah.
lunch or whatever.
No, we were kissing.
Ooh.
At 5 years old, fast ass. She is fast. You're
You're
done.
like, no.
Fast.
Third grade being
but
like, yo,
seriously,
what that,
like my
what
first
that
boyfriend
limp
was
all
white,
do?
but I'm not opposed to it. But it hasn't popped up again. Honestly, living in Atlanta, I feel like I haven't met too many white people. It's only up here. I always say that
Man, I wanna
Atlanta
spend more
gives
time in
me.
Atlanta. Atlanta's Black Hollywood though, especially for music.
And not even just in
Like,
the
I
South
love
in
me some
general.
Atlanta.
There's still a sense of segregation that I didn't
Well, so that
like
was
I didn't
what-
interact with
Not
black
that we
people. I
didn't
mean
touch
white
on it.
people
I
at
know we've been a
all.
little long-winded all because we talked about the Northeast. Like things
Yeah.
are much easier for us here.
Yes.
But yeah, no, they like me and her were traveling through Nashville, and my cousin is an executive at a big label in Nashville, and like we show up to like meetings with them, or like we pass barns that fucking say Trump Pence with a bunch of random Confederate flags on them as we're driving
Wow.
in Nashville. That shit actually happens, right, in Tennessee and like in
It
the
does.
South. Yo,
we've dealt with that in Virginia. When you
Yeah.
had to go pay that parking ticket, we were like, all you saw was just Trump signs. This is before Trump got elected.
Yeah,
and
this
just
is
people
before
looking
then.
at us crazy, and that's like the most
So we've been
uncomfortable
dating
I
for
felt.
almost 3 years, right? And we've been obviously like, together for
We
a year before
seasoned.
that. No, we've been together for like a year before that, and we were
Larry.
dating for that. So yes, we saw it before Trump and after Trump, and we're still seeing things. Like, no, we've seen it. You know, now we're experts. But yeah, I do.
Jake
think,
bought
and
me
this is-
flowers after Trump won, and he was just like, I'm so sorry.
You know what's so fucked? Because you know what's so fucked is like I'm definitely a more conservative person, but the first presidential election I voted in was for Hillary because I knew that if I voted in Trump won and I didn't vote against Trump, I'd feel so guilty. And I voted against Trump and he still won, and I was so hurt because it was such the ultimate G.O.B. easy. It was he's angry. He hates
That's
Trump.
our dog.
Gio
Yes.
hates Trump.
Our
My dog
protector,
hates Trump.
security.
But nah, it was just such a special and rare and disgusting time that it changed a lot of what I saw the country as. And I traveled with Davina and a bunch of people traveling on tour, and so like I understand a little bit more about the demographics of the country and what the coasts are like versus what the middle of the country
No,
is like.
seriously.
And like I love
It's
my girl and
different.
protect my girl, so like there are certain things I always gonna be worried about when we travel.
Stay in the
Yeah.
Northeast, seriously, because being in the South, I can honestly
The
say
coast
transition-
though, the West Coast is fine. Like LA is
Yeah,
obviously
true.
great, and Oakland and
See, I haven't been
Phoenix,
yet,
like,
but
There was no slavery in California.
they were chilling, and it's Mexicans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's definitely indentured servants. You have like the gold rush indentured servants. You're not wrong.
I'm saying,
You're not
I'm
wrong.
not.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Y'all, Los Angeles is not black people. It's for the Spaniards.
Yeah, we love Nashville a lot, and
And
when we
Snoop
went to
Dogg.
visit, I was really
And
scared.
But see,
was
like, I can
nervous.
honestly say Georgia, when I moved there, was the first place that I experienced that the divide and like saying stuff like I had friends who were white, Spanish, Jew, everything. Like there wasn't this is my white friend, this is my Spanish friend, I didn't have those. Everybody was just my friend or you weren't. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to Georgia, that was the first time I experienced like the divide and noticing that we don't speak to each other just on a daily basis. We don't.
It's scary how
we
it's
don't,
a little different.
It
there.
is, and it's weird because people don't even realize it themselves. Being in the black group, just realizing, oh, we don't. This is the white girl that we hang with. Like, why does she have to be a white girl? One of my mom's best friends is a white woman from New York, and she lived with us. She's known me since I was 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't. that's my brother's godmother. Like, I didn't have to think about
Her being
white and black.
People
It wasn't
are
a
slow.
thing. Yeah, it wasn't a thing for me. Like,
Yeah, I have
it wasn't a
terrible,
thing. So
you can cut this, but I have a terrible story. So my sister was a national figure skater, right? She went to like semi-Olympics, like she's lit. Like that's the reason I went to New Jersey, because my whole family followed her and did this whole shit. So when you're a national figure skater, right, you have these girls who are hella dedicated and like they come from wherever. And we have this great gym in Hackensack. So there's a girl named Tiffany, a black girl, was skating with my sister in these heats. Tiffany lived with us for like a year and a half because her parents were from Oklahoma or whatever, and they didn't want to come with her. They're like, yo, we'll help you pay your way, do whatever. I've never told you this. This is terrible. My friends used to make fun of me because they would be like, yo, oh yeah, you got like the
That
black girl
and-
living in your basement. Like it used to be like a thing, but it wasn't
That's
like
crazy.
that because they were national figure skaters who were doing this thing. Trust me, I was second fiddle to like my sister and all these people.
Yeah.
But like I know what that looks like and I know how fucking ugly that is, and it's just never okay.
I'm glad
This
those
girl's a goddamn
situations-
athlete, you know. This girl could
Yeah.
knock circles around me.
I mean, that could have made you grow resentful towards a certain race or black people. I'm appreciative that it made you
to
think a
outgrow
little bit
people.
more.
It made me learn that like I'm not an educated person by any means. I'm not a learned person or an enlightened person by any means. But like I never want to be around people who want to regress. You know what I mean? I never want to be around people who will absorb new information and go backwards.
Go backwards.
That's not okay. Like
You
that's
found
not
him, girl.
okay.
You're right.
This is it, girl. Ashley.
Tell her.
This
Tell
is
her.
it,
Nah,
girl.
she's special.
Well, I
Nah,
will
she's
say, I was
special.
telling Jake on
She's
the way
special.
over here, he was the first anniversary I ever had because I had never made it to a year with anybody.
Aw.
And now it's been 3 years, so.
No, she's special. I don't give a fuck what color she
I
is.
was like,
She's my
shout
girl.
out to
This is
holding
my
down
girl.
a Sagittarius for more than 9 months, which is a struggle.
Oh, and he's a Sag. Y'all different.
No, she is
No,
sad.
I'm a
She's
Sag.
Oh, y'all different.
Yeah, so I be trying to,
Who's different?
Y'all are different.
I'm not different.
I'm only
She's
off by
special
4
to me.
days, but y'all are different.
Oh, you're so sweet, babe.
Sagittarius are very
When is
special.
your birthday?
December 12th. And his is January 12th.
That is Tiana's
More
happy
month
birthday.
apart.
The love
Is
of
it
my
really?
life. No, I think hers is the 10th. Wait, somebody else.
was like, is it really?
Yeah, somebody else.
No.
But I'm only off by 4 days, but yeah, you guys are like different.
Are we too long, V?
No, it's never too long. If we ever go over,
You're going to have to edit this joint like a
No.
real slice of
No,
life.
Some
no
of the last
edit.
stuff was okay though.
No,
but
we
you could
just
end
we,
it.
we just make it into a couple parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 parts. You'll be on
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. Check us out
Oh, y'all got 2 weeks.
I had a liquor band who
Whoa.
wanted to like give me some joints, to, like bring a liquor sponsor, but I was like, I don't know if I get it passed by Davina and all that sexy shit.
What?
So
Wednesday. Oh, you played it.
12:30. Wow, we work it out for next joint. Don't worry. Don't
Oh,
you
we'll do that.
Okay.
Do that thing.
I
Do
still
that
drop the
thing.
name.
Do
I still
it.
drop the name. They feel good.
They feel good. They feel good. Hey, y'all, listen to this.
Right, listen to this.
Yo, this
you
is
have
really
any
dope.
Questions?
No, thank you. I appreciate y'all for having us. I wouldn't say we were worried, but like, yo, it's always a little bit introspective when you have to look at your own relationship. And I don't know. We try to be honest if we can.
Thank you guys for being so honest. This was
Yeah.
great. I feel like once again, it's a conversation that's necessary to have, to understand, not necessarily just to have the conversation, but to understand as well. Like,
Which is
hey,
crazy.
we're not
because
different. We're just out here living our lives.
2019. Like,
Yes.
Yo, crazy.
Love is love.
But it's so true.
Love is
There's so
love.
much older stigma that's still here.
yeah.
Love wins.
Yeah.
It does.
Love each
Does
other.
it?
And we
Yes.
love y'all. So we transition into 2 shots and the truth.
Oh yeah, we be
Hey,
back.
now.
We about to take our
Man, I
shot.
thought it was over. I
gotta
was like,
take
oh, we
shots.
made
The
it.
studio is finally empty. We lost the Coen brothers. It's finally all of us.
Right. Be
We'll
careful.
be back. Well, thank you guys for listening. We'll be back in a second.
Maybe.